How's it going, everyone? Welcome to our final interview for the Elite Battle League, our final preseason interview for the Elite Battle League. I am joined today by the one and only Crowbats coach of the Chicago Score Bunnies. First off, how are you doing today, my man? How is everything going?
I'm doing really good. Just getting ready to do this darn thing, and I'm excited for our first week. I was thinking we are going to start a lot earlier than this, actually. I was thinking first week of July, ready to go, but it's not till next week, so I guess I'll have to hold it until then. But, you know, ready.
Ooh, exciting, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
So, right off the rip, first question, how do you feel about the creation of the Elite Battle League as a whole?
I'm super excited about it. Now, I know we've talked about it before, and you've talked about it in some of your other interviews, but I've participated in 2 other draft leagues before, and this one is extremely unique in the sense that you only get the 9 mons. There's no trading. There's no drop-off in pickups. You're forced to use all the mons that you've drafted once within the 5 weeks, so that's very interesting. But the biggest thing for me, and what I think is really going to throw me off, is the no items clause. So that's big. But I think all in all, I think it's very well structured. I'm super excited about it, and it's going to be interesting to play with these new set of rules, to be honest.
Right. I feel like that's one of the bigger things that I feel like is kind of not necessarily being glossed over, but I feel like you haven't really seen any comments or anything about it, is the no items. Because I feel like of all the things, that's the biggest one, because you consider certain Pokemon, their sets or their usability in competitive is usually based around a certain item. So items, I feel like, are the one thing that might not get talked about a whole lot, but is actually really, really a huge exclusion from this league. One, to make it way more interesting. But like you mentioned, you have experience in the draft league. Do you feel that heading into this one, despite, you know, the different format, the different sort of rules, do you feel that that will give you some kind of advantage heading into this this season here?
I think just a little bit, but because of a lot of the different rules that are implemented in this one, I think it's also going to keep me on my toes as much as it is me having the advantage. Specifically because I've, you know, a lot of the guys that I've seen and that I've spoken to, aside from Guanako, they're very used to showdown battles where all the information is in front of you all the time, and you have the option to cancel a move if you really didn't want to do that. Whereas one misclick in this type of battle is really going to mess you up, and you don't have the option to take that, you know, that option back that you already chose. And then, you know, having to keep track of, you know, who's at -1, who's got the, you know, the speed advantage here now, depending on what's on the screen. You know, if somebody were to put up light screen or something, you know, you don't see that that object in front of you anymore. You have to literally look for text. So in that sense, you know, I think I have the advantage. But as far as everything else, I mean, I'm not as good as people think that I am. It's not just you guys. It's my Discord group too that we do all these things with. They're like, you know, we can't beat Sly, we can't beat Crowbats, and blah blah blah. You know, but I've been playing competitively since Gen 6. So, and I fell off once Sun and Moon came up. It didn't appeal to me as much, and then I finally get back into these. So I would say there's a good 4 or 5 year gap from, you know, my competitive side as far as it goes. I still remember quite a bit, but you know, I'm not top tier by any means.
Everyone else's answers would beg to differ. So still focused a little bit here on the league as a whole. Are you excited to be a part of the very first season of the Elite Battle League? This is the inaugural season, and you are one of the founding members. So are you excited to be a part of that? Are you excited to, you know, be one of the founding members?
I'm super stoked, especially being part of this group of Poketubers and YouTubers in general. It's the first time I've been the kind of a founder as far as the league goes. And I was super excited when Game Reviews actually sent me a DM. I wasn't exactly sure if I was going to do it right from the get-go as far as it goes, just because I have so many other things to take care of. And I also have 2 kids and it's just me. So, but I think now that I've got a few things shifted around and it's not as heavy as I thought it was going to be, I'm super excited to be part of this, and I really do hope that we kind of hit that, if I'm not mistaken, Stone Family said 8-player gap or maximum something like that. So if we can get to that point, I think it'll make things a lot more interesting. And but season 1, I'm ready for it. Super excited, super stoked to work with a bunch of cool guys, and with you and Inferno Men being kind of our MCs, our hype men in the background, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's awesome being a hype man. So before we go into your team, one last question. At one point, did you realize, kind of, were you thinking like, oh wow, like this is actually happening? Was it as soon as you got that DM from Max, from Gamer, or was it before the draft? At what point did you think like, okay, this is actually, like, this is going down?
Until we actually got our draft solidified, and I would say about maybe the 8th or 9th pick was when I was like, all right, this is an actual thing. Let's do it. Because I've been part of projects in the past where everybody was hyped up, and it just never went anywhere, where, I included a lot of art myself and, gave a lot of input as far as projects went, and it just never went anywhere. But I'm super stoked that everybody here is following through. So that's super exciting.
So now we're going to shift the focus a little bit more towards your team. For right now, the Chicago Score Bunnies as a whole, what exactly are you hoping to achieve this season? Now, the obvious answer is obviously winning everything.
It's a dub,
but,
yes.
Are there any other goals you have throughout this season?
I would have to say I would love to finally get a 6-0 in a single battle in a draft league. It has yet to happen, because it's really tough, because you're playing against players who not only specifically with the drafts that I've been a part of before, they were a cut above the rest, and it was really tough. My last league I went 2-7, and it was rough, and I really, really, really want to pull out a 6-0. I haven't been 6-0, thankfully, but if there was one goal that I really wanted, to 6-0.
That's actually probably, I think, the most specific answer I've gotten so far in these interviews. But I like it. It's good. Now, still on the Chicago Score Bunnies, was there a specific reason why you chose Chicago Score Bunnies? And at any point, did you ever consider any other names for your team?
So growing up, I'm going to preface this answer by saying that I do not watch sports at all. I maybe not at all, but like if Euro Cup comes on or World Cup or something like that, I'll watch that, or anything volleyball related. But as far as watching sports, I don't do it at all. So the name actually came from the Chicago Fire, and when this game came out, I was like, and I joined my first draft league, I was like, this is the most perfect thing I could think of, because I love watching soccer. I'm terrible at the game, but Score Bunny, being a soccer player, and then the Chicago Fire being a soccer team just worked so well together. Had I joined a draft before Gen 8 had come out, I probably would have went with Chicago Crow Bats or Chi-Town Bats or something like that, to be honest with you. But that configuration of things just worked so well together that I could not do it.
Wow, I did not realize that. You should see the face I made right now. I was like, wow, huh? Because it did not click in my head until you said that. And I'm a big soccer fan too. I was all right when I played. But until you said that right now, it did not click in my head. And I love that. I really, really do. Now, focusing a little bit more at your roster, did you have any kind of specific plan heading into the draft?
So when we actually started doing the draft, my initial thought was actually a Trick Room team. But as soon as I saw that Stone Family went for Uniclus, I was like, you know what? I want to diversify as much as possible with this actual roster and the kind of mons that we're going to see in this league. And I didn't want there to be 2 Trick Room users. I really didn't. So I decided against it, and because the Rain team does so well by itself and not really needing items, especially from when it was first a thing, that I was like, you know what, we're going water. Water types are generally bulky. They have a lot of HP. They can hit hard. Swift Swim is a thing, and it's really hard to get around as far as it goes.
Right. So at any point during the draft, did you have any picks stolen by anyone?
I did. Derek actually sniped my Dracofish that I was going for, and like in pick 2 or something like that. And I was so hurt. Oh man, I was so upset. Because I really wanted to see. I've never used a Dracofish before, but I've had one used on me, and they are devastating, absolutely devastating. You know, especially in the rain. So, you know, it would have been perfect. So, but I'm excited to see what somebody else does with it. But I would say that's the only one that really got sniped from me. I guess had I had the option, I would have gone for Rotom Wash, but you know, I've never really used that on a rain team myself as well. So, you know, I would say it's just the Dracofish that really kind of hurt a little bit.
Derek stole like 5 months from everyone else.
I felt so bad funny. because Matt kept saying, Crobats, you kept sniping me. You kept sniping. I'm like, I'm sorry. I did it. Like, I can't, I don't know, you know? And it's funny because I'm pretty sure he had like first pick or something, if I'm not mistaken. So it was kind of, or he was an earlier pick. So I was like, how am I sniping this guy just left and right? So it was kind of interesting to have that conversation while we were drafting.
So overall, speaking on your draft still, overall, how are you feeling about the team that you drafted? Are you feeling confident in it that you can utilize it to the best of its ability?
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with the rain team. It's actually what I used when I first started battling. And then even in this game, going through the battle tower, I used the rain rental team. So I'm super familiar with what it can do, what it can't do, where its weaknesses lie. And kind of getting around like a lot of the problems that you might have, like Seismitoad, for example, you know, getting, you know, not having to worry about those electric type moves. And then Ferrothorn's a really big pick for rain team. I'm not going to say much on it, but he's a huge piece to that, which again, I won't reveal too much about it, but he's going to be a big threat at some point.
On your team, do you feel that there are any standout Pokemon that the other teams need to keep an eye out for?
I would have to say Pelipper. So because not only does he set up the rain, but he has a lot of advantageous things that he can do. He's got a lot of switch initiative. Depending on how you build him, like you can build him bulky, you can build him fast, you can, you know, just him as a starter mon does a lot. You know, we've got Defog, we've got access to Scald and all other types of water type moves. We got Hurricane, you know, so it'll be interesting to see what people do when it comes to Pelipper specifically. You know, and it's easy to bait out like an electric type move with Pelipper and just switch straight into Seismitoad.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually never really thought of Pelipper as a solid lead-in like that, but good explanation, because that makes a lot of sense to me. So would you say Pelipper is an MVP candidate from your team, or would you say you have another mon that you feel would be an MVP candidate towards the end of the season?
If there was one other one that I think would outshine Pelipper with the mons that I have, it'd probably be Barraskewda, I'm sorry. Just because it has a wide variety of moves as far as typing goes. And with Swift Swim in the rain up, I mean, it's guaranteed to hit. And this thing's attack stat at base 110 is huge.
Yeah. I always saw it as a bit of a glass cannon, but you're absolutely right that its attack is just really good. It's already fast, and like you mentioned, Swift Swim, that could be very deadly for a lot of the other teams out there. Do you feel you have a Pokemon on your team that will shock everyone with how well they will perform?
It's probably gonna have to be Seismitoad, as far as it goes, because when people see Seismitoad and they're not too familiar with a rain team, they automatically assume, you know, it's slow or it's not gonna deal out very much damage because it's not really seen in that light very often. But with its insane move pool and what it kind of has to offer as far as it goes, aside from the electric immunity, I think it'll surprise quite a few players.
Ooh, I'm excited to see that. Now moving back to the league rather as a whole, to you, which team is looking the most dangerous, not including your own?
Off the bat, it's a tight tie between Stone Family and Guanako. Just because, I mean, Guanako, I can see him putting up quite a bit of shenanigans with that shuckle, but looking at his team, he has a ton of heavy hitters and a pretty good diverse team as far as it goes. And then as far as Stone Family, because I'm going to be relying so much on the rain, and depending on what I bring, that Reuniclus can be a real problem with Trick Room and giving him the advantage as far as it goes, along with that Lapras, depending on its ability. But I would say, aside from them, the second one is definitely Derek. Definitely Derek. He's got quite the pool of mons, and that Dragofish and Mimikyu is going to be a problem starting out, especially if he sets them up properly.
Right. It's a very deadly duo. It's interesting because I want to say off the top of my head that everyone at some point brought up Derek, purely because of that roster. It's just pretty stacked. And everyone also brought up you. Typically it was you and Derek. I think the average majority was that you and Derek were up there for that question. So a lot of expectations, I guess, from the other teams.
Yeah, you guys got me nervous now. I gotta put on me and Derek gotta put on a show. You know, we're gonna name our fight the title match or something. I don't know what's gonna happen there, so it's gonna be fun.
So continuing on with the league, do you feel rather there are any teams that might be underestimated but do better than people would expect?
I think Fusro Dab's team is going to be underestimated. From the content that I've seen on his channel, and kind of what he does, and from his following, I don't think many people know him as a battler, but I think us as Poketubers, in general, have a really good understanding of how mons work, how battling works, even if you're just doing a playthrough. I mean, if you've done any sort of hard mode type of game, where you have a smart AI, or you're playing one of the newer versions that have, or fan-made games that have come out, where you have to use Wi-Fi battling tactics, I think you're more than ready. I mean, you know, I know Game Review has done a lot of fan-made games where you do have to have some sort of knowledge of Wi-Fi battles and, you know, switching out and setting yourself up for success as far as the battle goes. But out of everybody, I think Fusro Dab is really gonna give people a show and kind of show how unexpected he is as a battler.
Okay, I like that answer. So as we wrap it up here, are you planning on releasing any merch for your team?
I am. So I've got two things for the Chicago Score Bunnies. We've got some cut dye stickers already out, and then we also have a tank top in gray, blue, and black available on the store, which those links will be down below for you guys, and then for you guys, obviously, they're in the Discord for you.
Yep. And also, now that we're about to wrap it up, I will give you this little time slot here to go ahead and plug everything you got, your YouTubes, everything you got.
Well, I guess if there's any time better than it's at the end. What do you do, crew? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Crobats, your favorite Polish Pokemon master. All my links are down below. Everything from Twitter to Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, you name it, is just going to be Crobats. Sweet and simple. I'll have everything linked down below. If you guys would do me the biggest favor, drop a like, a follow, the whole nine. You know, whatever you guys want to do, I'd be most appreciative. And I hope that the Score Bunnies definitely pull out a 6-0 at least once this season. And I'll see you guys July 10th for the first battle between me and Fusro Dab.
Ooh, exciting, ladies and gentlemen. And the final question that I've been asking everyone: why are you going to be the champion of the Elite Battle League at the end of the season?
You know what? I've thought a lot about this question from your other interviews, and to put it simply, we're just gonna stay sly, man. We're just gonna stay sly, and we're gonna win because of it.
I like it. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Our preseason interview with the coach of the Chicago Score Bunnies, Crobats. Be sure to show some love his way. As he mentioned, all his links, of course, will be in the description down below. And also, of course, show love to the other coaches in the Elite Battle League. And to you, Crobats, I wish you good luck for the season. And we'll be looking forward to what you are able to accomplish. Good sir.
Awesome. I'm super stoked. And for those watching, Always remember to let your nerd flag fly. Stay sly, guys.